So what is up you guys, it's me again, your girl Raya, back again with another video. And for today's video, we are going to talk about the latest version, and at the same time we're also going to talk about the latest class that they've added in the game, which is the Grow Lancer. So I will be providing you guys with tips, tricks, as well as a guide on how to make your Grow Lancer stronger. So if you want to know more information regarding this new class, then please stay tuned, okay? Now, in order for us to understand the concept of how to make a Grow Lancer stronger, you need to understand the skill set that it provides. So what I did in order for us to do that is I remove all of the ultimacies that I have been wearing for the character, and we are going to test it out with another character to see how much damage it does without the ultimacy and which ultimacy is better, for certain situations. So, for the very first skill set that we are going to test out, so we have here the Typhoon Torn. Now, the Typhoon Torn has two kinds of ultimacy. We have here the Storm Attack, and this one increases the attack range of of that skill. And then we also have here the Spike, which provides a large amount of damage to the character. So, like I said, I will be testing it out with another character right over here. So, there you go. Just making some adjustments. So, I have here Heaven. So, Heaven right now is on follow. So, I'm actually the one using it right now, just for this video. So, like I said, I'm not wearing any ultimacy. Let's test out the damage, okay? So, let's try. Whoa, that actually provides a really heavy damage. Like, this character is a 3.9 million BP character with a 40 with a 40 million HP. So I kind of dealt like around roughly maybe 30, like 30 million damage over this character. So let's just make sure that he dies, because I don't really have any heal, so I can't really heal him out. So while waiting for him to come back, let me go ahead and choose one of the ultimacies here so we can test it out. So I'm gonna go ahead and try Spike to see if Spike will actually have, it says here it will deal a large amount of damage. So will I be able to kill him using this one? Let's see. So here he is again. Let's test it out. Actually, I guess when it comes to damage, the other factors like the extra strike, the double damage, the ignore defense, they also play a good factor here. But yeah, pretty much it did deal a larger amount of damage. Pretty basic for me. So if I'm going to be choosing between this one to the other one, I'd probably go for the attack range, which is the Storm Attack, because I would like to hit more enemies, than just one. So now I chose this one. Let's see. So it's pretty much the same with or without. Now this one actually did provide a larger range. So let's try it there. Okay. So that's a longer range. So as you guys can see, the range is wider compared to the other one. Let's test out again this one. There you go. So yeah, the other one did have a longer range, making it much more effective during clashes or like team battles. So if I were to choose between one or two, I'd probably choose two. Alright, now moving forward to the next skill set, we have here the Scorching Dance. So this one, Grow Lancer quickly swings his weapon and makes fire from friction. With air, inflicts DOA or damage on area around him. It's supposed to be her, but yeah, whatever. Now, I didn't wear anything yet for this skill, so let's give it a try. So as you guys can see, it's a damage on areas. So as long as your enemy is beside you or somewhere near you, and it hits, the character gets hit directly, then it will deal damage. So let's make sure that he's dead. There you go. So let's go ahead and check the other, the ultimacies that are available for that skill. So we got here the Fire Dance. So it says here, Grow Lancer quickly swings his weapon and create a powerful whirlwind to spread fire at a bigger area to expand the attack range. While the other one, It quickly swings his weapon and burns the air around him to create a vacuum to slow down the enemy. So this one actually has a CC or a crowd control versus this one just that that pretty much just expand the range. But let's try to do the range first. Whoa. The range actually deals a much heavier damage, and with that kind of range, it will be hard for the enemy to run away from you. But it's actually effective for maybe 1v1. But let's see if, let's see what's the difference if you have the CC included or if there is a crowd control that is involved with your attack. So I'm gonna try to use the flame lag, which creates a vacuum to slow down the enemy. Let's see if this will provide a better hit. So as you guys can see, the first one actually deals way much more damage. But if you're going to be fighting with multiple enemies, this makes it easy, or this makes it much more effective for your enemy not to run away from you. So if you're going to choose between one or two, if you're doing like a normal PvP battle, I guess, with multiple characters, you can go for the range one. Yeah, but then if you wanted to be like a team player, you want to slow down your enemy because there's a much heavier damager than you, then you can go for the CC one, which is the second one. This one, the flame lag. Alright, so now let's move forward to the next skill. So what we have here is we have the illusory dragon, correct? So we also have two skill sets, but let's talk about the skill first. So it says here, Grow Lancer and his spear merge into one and dash forth, stunning all the enemy units on its route. So just this one alone actually has stun on it. So let's see. Did he die? Oh, he's alive. Is he alive? I don't know. I was like, is he alive? But that alone actually has stun. So let's see how much damage. Okay, that doesn't really do much damage. It's more of like a crowd control style. But let's try to see with this one. So this one increases the attack range, but it does have stun. So let's give that a try. So let's just say I'm far away from my enemy. Oh, whoa, that is deadly. Did you guys see that? That's deadly. Okay, while waiting for him to come back. So that was the boundary break that increases the attack range. So if I'm far away from my enemy, like for example, when you're fighting an archer or somebody that has a range like a mage, and even MG, you might want to use this one because it increases the attack range. But let's see if this one will help. So this one severely stunning all the enemy units on its route. But it just says here that this alone, that this skill alone does stun. So even without this one, I guess this one will just increase the chance of stunning. But let's try. So I'll do some range here. Okay, keep distance. Okay. I'll go do a good amount of distance. You keep following me. 1 second. Okay. Yeah. Boom. Okay. So it's more of like a stun towards him. But the damage is again way better on the other one. So if you want to go for more damage with a little bit of stun, you can go for the one that increases the attack range. And if you want to go for, for more chances to stun, then go for the second one. It's up to you. Alright, so now next on our lineup will be the fourth skill. We have here the spiral impaling. So it says here, Grow Lancer jumps backward, breaks free from control, and gets away from the battle circle before jumping back to the original spot and pounding the ground to cause DOA, which is damage on area. So pretty much it's like the places where he jumps back and forth, whoever is on that area will be getting good amount of damage. So let's see how that works without any of the ultimacies. So okay, so that just kind of jumps away. Okay, so that is pretty deadly. The first one, it didn't come back. Did you guys notice that? So that kind of, that kind of glitches every now and then. So you have to be careful when you're using it. It's much better if somebody is trying to pin you guys down on one specific location. Using this can help you guys break free from the crowd control that is being used to you by the other characters, you know, such as diviners, because they have a lot of CC, and then we also have the BKs. So they have a lot of crowd control. So if you want to break free from their curse, their silence, as well as their stun, you guys can totally use this. Now we also have two different types of ultimacy. So this one breaks free from control and get away from the battle circle before jumping to the original spot and causing strengthened DOA. So this means, the swirl force it helps you break free, but at the same time it also deals more damage than the normal one. While the second one, velocity, it says it jumps backwards to break free from control and get away from the battle circle and become temporarily immune to control before jumping back to the original spot to cause DOA. So you're doing damage, and at the same time you're having immune control on this one. For me, between these two, I find that the velocity is more practical to use than the other one, but we'll see. Let's see which one deals more damage. So I'm using the one with the strength and DOA. Oh, whoa, that's deadly. That is so deadly. Let's see what will happen if I try the other one. Now, this is actually what I personally use. I personally use velocity for my character because I find that this is very convenient, especially if you're trying to run away or escape during battle. So let's try this one. So he has full HP. Okay, so it didn't really do much damage, but at the same time, it kind of prevents you from getting stunned again. Like I said, just to break free. So again, it's up to you on how you guys are gonna be using that one, but between the two, I'll probably choose velocity. Alright, now moving forward on the skill set, we are going to talk about this one. This is the Obsidian. So this is more of like your buff. So it says here, Grow Lancer crafts a shield with the god bestowed obsidian force, granting himself damage reduction ability. So this is actually perfect for me because my character alone has a very minimal damage reduction. My damage resist did improve, but my damage reduction, it does suck a lot. So this will definitely help me a lot. Now, this one actually gives you the ability to also have HP regeneration effect. So it helps you regen some HP, while this other one, it kind of strengthens the damage reduction. So let's try to see how good this regeneration is. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have this character to damage us. Okay, we're gonna have this character to damage us. So I'm gonna try to, because there's really no point for me not to wear any of the buff. So I'm gonna wear this HP regeneration thingy. So as you guys can see, my current HP right now is at 81 million. So we're gonna buff up, and then we're gonna try to get damage. Okay. I'm not really getting a lot of damage from him, but let's see. Let's see the damage, the regeneration. Okay, are you guys seeing this? So I am getting regen. So let's just say, okay, stop, just stop. Okay, there. So as you guys can see, there. Every time I click it, it's giving me a good amount of HP regeneration. It's not really that high, however, it is very helpful. You guys see that? Now you guys might be thinking, but Raya, you may have potions that could probably be helping out. So yeah, let's go ahead and remove these potions right over here, so at least we can really check if it does help me out in the battle. So I'm gonna damage my character a little bit more. Okay. 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 I have no means to regenerate. As you guys can see, I have no means to regenerate, but I will just be keeping, getting damage. Well, I am regenerating. So let's see how high. Okay. So it does regen. It does regen in a very, very nice manner. See? From 70 million, it's now 72 million. So if I keep using that, I probably have a good HP regen. See? You guys see that? From 7.2, it's now 7.5. Again, I do not have any HP buff, so this is actually a good thing to see. Okay, there you go. See, so it's almost full health now. So actually, that's a good thing to know. So this HP regen is not really that high. However, it's quite helpful whenever you are in battle. Now, if you think that your HP is good enough and you don't really need that extra HP regeneration, and you just need assistance when it comes to your damage, to strengthen your damage reduction ability, you can equip this one. And let's see if you're gonna be getting more durable. So I'm gonna try to damage myself. So as you guys can see, I'm getting 1 million damage if I click on clicking. Now let's buff up. Okay, it's not gonna be that easy to damage, but it's doing good amount of damage. Okay, so between the two, if I'm going to choose between one or two skill, I'll probably choose the one with the HP regeneration, because overall that is, even though it's not super high, especially during battle, it will still be helpful, especially if you're just doing hit and run. You are, this character is a damage burst, so you know that you're doing good amount of damage to your enemy, but you need to find a way to sustain that HP, and by choosing the dark zone, that will actually help you guys out in the battle. Now let us move forward to the next skill. So what we have here is the expelling. It's the expelling punishment. So it says here, Grow Lancer summons an ancient god expelling punishment halo under its feet, and it increases the attack of the character. So we have two ultimacies for this buff. So this one is called, what are you called? Sin punishment. So it summons a stronger expelling punishment halo under his feet, further increasing his attack. That's good. While the other one says your Grow Lancer summons a torn halo under his feet, increasing his attack as well as the counter damage effect. So if I'm gonna be choosing between them two, I don't really think that I would be needing the counter damage effect. So I needed something to really burst my damage. But let's see. So I'm gonna have this character to really battle me out. Okay, so we're gonna battle. Now let's try to use the buff. So I'm gonna try to do the counter damage one. There you go. So my normal damage is like so. If I use this and then do that, it actually provides a good amount of damage. But wow, he's about to kill me. Oh no. But he died. Okay, so let's try to choose this one, which further increases my attack, to see if that burst damage can really help me. So as you guys can see, I didn't really use any HP potion. So there. Okay, that actually just makes it really, 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 really deadly. Okay. So I don't have any HP now, but anyways, that doesn't really matter. That buff is good. That buff is really, really good. Well, for me. So I choose this one that further increases the damage. There. So now let's move forward to the next one. This is called the Shield of Punishment. So it says here, Grow Lancer pounds the ground under his feet with the Shield of Punishment, causing a great deal of damage around him. So that's the basic. So let's see how this goes. Okay. So it goes like that. Okay. It does deal quite a good amount of damage. Okay. Now, let's try the other, the ultimacies. So we got here the God's Kill. So Girl Lancer charges the shield of punishment and bombards the ground under his feet, inflicting an immense amount of damage around him. So that's the first one. And then the other one, I actually prefer this one. Grow Lancer charges the shield of punishment before releasing a blast wave, inflicting damage around him and additionally silencing the enemy. So again, if I were to choose between the two, I'd go for this one, the one with silence, because of course you want that crowd control. Now let's go ahead and move forward to the next skill. So what we have here is the Shield of Punishment. So Grow Lancer pounds the ground under his feet with the Shield of Punishment, causing a great deal of damage around him. So of course I already have it at max level. Now we have two things here. We have the God's Kill that provides immense amount of damage around him when used, while the other one provides additional silencing effect on the enemy. Honestly, between the two, regardless of how much damage I can do, I'd still go for the one with the silencing effect, because I want a way to stop my enemy from maybe healing up or doing a counter attack against me. But let's see how much damage it does. So without any of the skills, so let's see here. That doesn't really do much damage than I expect. So let's try to equip this one. There. After equipping that one, let's see. And the cooldown is so slow. It's so slow. So it's really better if you can have the silence one. Okay. This one, the damage is by far amazing. Let's kill him. Okay. So now it's dead. Let's try to use the one with additional silence, so at least we can see which one will be much more effective than the other one. I know that the other one really does provide a good amount of damage, but let's see how much damage the silence one has. So let's try it out. It's okay. The silence does not really do much damage, as you guys can see. That was the first attack that I did against him, and the amount of damage that I did was so little. It's really annoying. And again, the cooldown of this skill is pretty slow. It's pretty long, so it's much better. Okay, the first one, it doesn't really do much damage, but the second attack, it deals great amount of damage. So I guess that's the reason why that skill has a very, very slow cooldown. The cooldown of this one is 20 seconds, so you better use it wisely. But if I were to choose between 1 and 2, I'd probably choose the second one, the one that has the silence effect, because it's going to be very, very effective during battles, right? Alright, so now let's move forward to the very last skill for this character. So we have here the Furious Holy Spear. So it says here, Grow Lancer uses divine power to sanctify his spear and swipe across a large area in front of him, inflicting a great deal of damage. So that is the base one. And then we have two ultimates here. We have the Fierce Spear that inflicts incurable bleeding damage. Oh, I love that. I love that. It means that even, once an enemy gets hit, once the enemy gets hit with that, it has an incurable bleeding damage, which means no matter how far he runs away from you, as long as that bleed is sticking, he will be getting damage. That's really, really good. And then we have another one here. It says here, wielding the Saint Spear like crazy, swiping across a wide range and inflicting damage with extra stunning effect. So either you go for stun or you either go for bleeding. Now that one is very tricky for me. It's very, very tricky. But let's see how much damage this does without any of the ultimacies. So use that. Okay. Good amount of damage. So let's just kill him. And then let's use the bleeding effect. I want to see how much bleeding effect this has. I'm like super excited when I saw the bleeding effect on the lineup. I'm like super excited because I love bleeding effect when it comes to the skills. So this one has the bleeding effect. Let's see. Okay. So I don't really see that much of a damage, but I do feel that it is sticking. Okay, die. Let's see if I can hit him again and make sure that he actually dies due to bleed. Okay, let's see. Okay. Okay, the damage itself, it's not really that much. So it has to be a solid hit. It has to be a solid hit. Now, the cooldown of this skill is 20 seconds. So it's similar to the previous skill that we have. Always the second skill just leaves the enemy. It just leaves the enemy dead, OMG. Now let's try with the extra stunning effect. I'd actually go for the bleeding effect, especially if you're doing, if you're doing like a clash with multiple enemies. So let's try to do the stunning effect. The stunning effect is really deadly. As you guys can see, he was stunned. See? He was stunned instantly because that's an R8. That's an R8 buff that removes the stun status of your character. So with that angel showing up after I attack the character, it means that the character did get stunned. So that was quite effective. Now, if I'm gonna choose between the two, since my first skill has that bleeding effect, I can actually go for the additional stunning for the second one. It's going to be much more effective for me in some sense, especially if I'm doing 1v1 and also for clashes. Because if you stun your enemy, the more you stun them, the more that it's gonna be hard for them to really move and attack you back. You know? Alright, since now we understand how the skill set works for the Grow Lancer, let's talk about the basic stats that you need to improve in order to make your Grow Lancer a much effective character, especially during clashes or 1v1s and, everything about PvP. First thing pretty much that you guys need to know when it comes to the Grow Lancer is it does not really have any heal. The only healing effect that you really have would be either one of the awakenings, if you already have like max awakening. So we have here HP recovery for your second skill, but it's only like 5%, so it's not that much. So if you notice that even if I didn't really use the Obsidian earlier, I was regenerating some HP. So that's probably because of one of the skills that I personally have. It's under the awakening. And then this one also has like HP recover, which is 10%. So it's another way for you to really heal up. And then here, we're only immune to slow and all that stuff. Okay, I haven't really maxed this one out. So we got pretty much 3 ways to really regenerate HP, but that's not really that's not really enough to survive during clashes. So that's the number one thing that you have to understand when it comes to this character. You do not really have any heal, so there's no way for you to sustain your HP during battle. So you have to make sure, the number one tip that I am going to provide you guys is you have to make sure that your HP is high. The reason why your HP needs to be high is because your HP is the one that you need to really look out for during battles. Because without your HP, it's game over, dude. So just make sure that your HP is really high, somewhat similar to a BK. Because if you're gonna be fighting a BK, or if you're gonna be fighting a burst type as well, which is an archer or a mage, it's going to be really deadly for you. Now, next thing on your list, you guys might think that this is quite useless, but of course, make sure that you have a good amount of defense, both physical and magical. Now, the reason why it has to be balanced for both physical and magical is because the physical defense works for physical damage type characters. I'm talking about archers, SCRMG, and BKs, and as well as Grow Lancer. So if you have more enemies that uses physical attack, then it's really best for you to increase your physical defense. Now, if more, in your server or cross server, your enemies are more of magical types like mage, diviner, as well as mage type MG or magic gladiator, it's best for you guys to increase the magical defense because it will help you survive during battle. Now, you might not really feel what the defense really do for your character, but the base defense, the physical and magical defense, it works every single time you get hit. Okay, every single time you get hit, it works. It keeps on working every time you get hit. So if my enemy has a 1 million damage and then I have 100 or a 1 point, yeah, I have a 1.6 million defense, then that means that's nullified. So that's the reason why if you're a lower BP, there's a chance that you don't really do much damage to your enemy. But if you're a higher BP, let's just say your BP, the BP of your enemy is, let's just say 3 million, and then you have like around 1.6 to 1.7 million defense, then that means it's just going to be 1.2 million damage to you. Okay? And this is the reason why armor penetration as well as ignore defense is quite important. Because again, the defense always work every single time you get hit. Okay? So please keep that in mind. Now, another thing you need to understand when it comes to the Grow Lancer, this is a burst type of character. So like I said, it's somewhat similar to an MG. So if you notice pretty much the damage that I am doing using this character, it's really, really, really amazing. I actually love the damage. It's quite deadly. But you have to understand what are the things that you have to increase and what are the things that you need to prevent. So, if you guys notice on my live streams on Facebook, you will notice that I am totally having a hard time whenever I'm fighting multiple characters because the burst, since I'm doing burst damage, when it gets counter, when it hits me back, it really hurts my character. Okay? So, in order for me to prevent that, just like I mentioned, I need to increase my damage absorb, resist, and reduction. Now, what's giving me a hard time is my damage reduction is not really that high, so I need to increase that. Now, one of the things that makes my character a lot more deadlier, especially when it comes to the damage, would be probably my armor penetration. Because like I said, or like what I mentioned earlier, your defense works every single time you get attacked. It does not have any reduction or whatsoever. It keeps on working every single time you receive a damage. So, in order for your damage to be much more deadlier, having a higher armor penetration and then ignore defense will really help you out in hitting your enemy and damaging your enemy big time. So, you guys have to remember that. Now, of course, it's probably gonna take a lot of time if I'm going to be discussing every single one of the inner stats to you guys, but all of the inner stat works almost the same, the same way as it works on the other characters. It's the same. You just have to remember that there are these inner stats that are important. So again, you have to remember you have to keep your HP high. You have to make sure that your defense is good and the gap between the defense is just little. You have to make sure that your damage absorb, damage resist, and damage reduction is good. You have to make sure that your flee is high. And last but not the least, since this is a short range character, keep this in mind. You have to make sure that you have a good amount of lifesteal on hit. So lifesteal on hit is this one. One of the best ways to increase your lifesteal on hit would be by refining your gears. So by simply refining your gears, it can increase your lifesteal on hit. And what lifesteal on hit do is every single time that you attack your enemy, either normal attack or skill attack, you can get HP back for your character. Since this is a character that does not have heal, having a good amount of lifesteal on hit will really help you survive in a game, especially if you're fighting multiple characters. So this is, this tip also works for BKs, but this is very, very effective for short range character like diviners, BKs, as well as Grow Lancers. So again, keep that in mind because that's very important. Now, of course, the rest, this is a burst type. This is a burst type of character. So whatever you try to increase for this character, it's going to be very, very helpful. But just make sure that your primary, the primary line of defense, as well as the secondary line of defense, is good enough to protect yourself. Now, of course, since we are in an era where in elemental is also important. I'm not going to be discussing about how elemental works for you. We're going to have a separate, a separate video for that, for me to better explain on how it works. But I hope that you guys understand on how to make a very effective grow lancer, for your server, or if you want to switch for your character. I hope that the tips and tricks that I am providing you truly help you guys a lot, because I personally love the grow lancer. I am having a hard time. This is my personal opinion for the character. I am having a hard time because I'm coming from a diviner and then switching into a grow lancer. So I was used to having a heal for my character, and now I don't. So I'm kind of struggling in surviving. Plus, I don't have an R10, so that's another thing. But overall, I love the fact that it deals a good amount of damage. I love the fact that it has that archer jump effect, for the anti-crowd control. I love the fact that it does have HP regeneration, and I love the designs. Like, seriously, the design overall for Grow Lancer is really, really amazing. You guys have to check the skin. The skins are, by far amazing. Now, of course, if you guys haven't really played the game, I hope that you guys check out, MU Origin 2 again. There's a lot of changes. There's a lot of good content pretty much that they have added, which makes it hard for me to really let this go. I wish to try another game, but then it keeps pulling me back. And if you guys wanted to help me, you guys can check on the description box. There's a link there, and that will route you directly to the game. So at least you guys can see the latest content or the latest updates for the game. And that is pretty much it for my video. Alright, so I do hope that you learned more information regarding this video. Now, please feel free to check out the links that I have posted down below to route you guys back in the game. And I hope that this video cleared out the things that you guys might be confused of when it comes to the character. And if you do guys have questions, just feel free to leave them on the comment box down below. Again, I really appreciate your time as well as your love and support. And see you guys again in my next video. Peace out. XOXO, Raya.
Tell me pretty lies, look me in the face. Tell me that you love me, even if it's fake.